What things do you unfortunately know from experience? You can have everything you ever wanted and still be unhappy. I got the good job that felt like a true calling with a great benefits and perks package, moved 1,000 miles away into a gorgeous apartment, and have all the little things I thought I needed: meal delivery, gadgets, gaming PC. 3 years in, quarantine hits and I realize how empty it all is. My family and friends are all back home, and I never managed to make connections in the new place. Quit my job, and I'm moving back in with my family as an adult, but I'm actually looking forward to spending time with them as I sort everything out. Thinking of the new job as just a paycheck, and not my identity. I thought all I wanted was a perfect career and money for luxuries, but it doesn't mean shit without people you love. Doctors/dentists don't always have your best interest in mind. When I was 17, I went to the dentist on my own for the first time and he tricked me into getting an expensive procedure I didn't really need. I can't remember the exact procedure, but it was something that I needed to go back for, since he already did the pre-op stuff like grinding down the tooth while I was there, so I basically had to go through with it. Always thought they knew best until my parents were pissed about this operation. Hypothermia really isn't a bad way to go. I tipped a canoe in northern Minnesota during late spring and spent 45 minutes in 40-degree water. After a while, you stop feeling cold. The shivering and terror are replaced by a nice, warm, peaceful calm. I managed to get to shore and pull myself out of the water, but that was all the strength I had. Miraculously, my screams for help were heard from over half a mile away. When I heard the boat, I could barely lift my arm to show them where I was. It was 80° Fahrenheit and sunny, but I was lying there dying. Getting a dog does not help with depression. They can exasperate it. Then you are made to feel like an asshole if you bring it up to anyone, because if a dog doesn't cheer you up, you clearly do not have a soul. I feel like people have drastically different reactions to having the responsibility of a pet while depressed. It could save your life or make you even more overwhelmed. Dogs are probably a gamble because they tend to be pretty needy in terms of attention. Also, like you mentioned, there's this weird culture around dogs in America. Don't get me wrong, I adore the little bastards, where they're supposed to be a magical fix for every emotional need. They can really be stressful though, even when you're doing well with your mental health. Training a dog takes a lot of effort and sometimes they ruin your shit for seemingly no reason. My dog used to eat money. Sometimes it's better to get an indoor-outdoor cat or even a snail or something that can be a bit more self-reliant. That way there's some living thing that depends on you, but you have room for error. To any company you work for, you are a replaceable cog. No matter if you are a clerk or a senior vice president, you are totally expendable. HR is there to protect the company, not the workers, and filing a complaint will almost always make the situation worse. Never let them know if you are ill, having depression issues, family problems or money problems. Once they think you are not focused on the goals of the company, you are toast. Work isn't about the survival of the fittest. It is about knowing how to negotiate the politics. You can work your ass off, stay late, work after hours, and devote your time and energy to a career and end up getting laid off when business is in trouble. I had glowing reviews. I was well liked. Up for a promotion. The business and the numbers don't care. Just because someone hasn't broken up with you or clings to the relationship doesn't mean they really want to be with you. Sometimes you have to break your own heart to get out of an unpleasant situation. So I was with a guy for a year and a half. We had no chemistry and he showed no affection. I was wondering when the love part will show up. Had to have a come to Jesus meeting with myself and broke up with the guy cause he wasn't sure if he loved me after a year and a half. Met my now husband 2 months later. The term fireproof is always relative. Nothing tragic or anything. Let's just say if you're getting into metalwork, don't cheap out on your PPE. Aluminum will run like water, and just like water, if it pours on you, it will find all the gaps and holes in your clothes. Luckily it's so hot that it doesn't hurt until it starts to heal. Don't ignore/excuse red flags. Yup, don't make excuses for someone else or forgive them repeatedly. People are perfectly aware of what they are doing, and by forgiving them, you let them take advantage of you. You can do everything right and still not make some people happy, only almost happy. It's designed like a dangling carrot just outside of your reach. With just one more push, you may be able to grasp it, but you won't because it's impossible. If you stop trying to grab the carrot, you will upset them. That's a price worth paying. You are not responsible for someone else's happiness. You are not responsible for someone else's emotions or what they decide they think about you. Sounds like you are trying to be a good person in the world. We need more people like that. I hope you have found your happiness. You're the only person you can try to make happy. It's not what you know, it's who you know, is not just a trite saying. There's a possibly positive aspect to this as well. The fact that just showing up and hanging around can have a very positive effect on your career. Obviously, this doesn't mean much if you're just trying to get a job somewhere at some company you don't care about in order to pay the bills. But if there's a field you're really interested in, then just hanging around in that field can do more for your career than anything else. It's illegal to ship food from Australia to South Korea. Thankfully the post office worker made sure to check what I was shipping, or I could have ended up in serious trouble. People lie, even about freaked up crap. My older sister, while we were teenagers, came out about my father sexually abusing her as a child and throughout her life. This came as a surprise, but obviously I believed my sister. My mom also started to make up stories about how she walked in on him watching child porn once, etc. Didn't talk to my dad for 5 or 6 years. Turns out she was lying, and so was my mom. Pathological liars. It's over a decade later and there are still some people who think he's a pedo. When it happened, he lost all 3 kids, went through a horrible divorce, was investigated by CPS for years, was labeled a child rapist, was exiled from almost all social circles, almost lost his career, spent thousands in lawyer fees, and so much more. IDK how he didn't kill himself. Really freaked with my head, because it all happened during very formative years of my young adulthood. Also left me with very bad trust issues for everyone, but especially for women. My mom really tried to ruin a man's life because she was cheating and wanted out and alimony. I don't know why my sister lied aside from knowing she loved the attention she got from it. Rapists are not shady figures in dark alleys. They can be your boyfriend, and if he says he sexually abused his baby sister because I watched a porno and I wanted to know how it felt, run. He didn't change. He is looking for more victims. May he rot in hell. ETA, thanks for the award and the support. This happened 5 years ago, and I had time to process and get over it. Sadly, the way he did it, steal thing, is not illegal in my country, Argentina. His sister is not doing so okay. Their family has a not so healthy dynamic, abuse included. Work is not like school. People at work want to see results, not effort or improvement. Don't assume your boss is necessarily a teacher or a mentor, or that your learning or your career are their main concern. It may be of no concern to them at all. Really depends on the sector of work. At our IT company we openly welcome people asking and trying to learn. Just because you get paid a salary doesn't mean you suddenly know everything about a craft. We do however encourage them trying hard first, but if you get stuck for too long, when you don't know what to do it's not beneficial for either party. Never combine bleach and ammonia. Sure everyone knows that. But as a kid, I just made a mental note to not combine flasks labeled bleach and ammonia when hanging out in lab. Skip to young adult years. I'm working in a vet clinic, and what do I spray into a litter box with tomcat piss in it? Well, it was extra stinky, so I skipped the chlorohex and went for the bleach spray of course. I was also in a tiny little room with a tub but no ventilation. It was like breathing in gas that ignited in my throat. Lesson learned. Disclosing any mental health issues to your employer can and will be used against you. I was due a promotion at a job I ended up being at for nearly 5 years. In quick succession, both of my mum's parents were diagnosed with cancer and died. My mum then got a prolapsed disc in her spine and couldn't get out of bed. I ended up needing to take on carer responsibilities for her, as my dad and sister both had better paid jobs. I didn't get paid for my time off. I cared for my mum Monday to Friday, round the clock as the rest of the family had work. at the weekend. I would then go and do a shift at work on Saturday and then see my girlfriend on Sunday. Sometimes I would be exhausted on the days I did work. One day I turned up and hadn't slept as mum had been in a lot of pain through the night and I was up helping her. I had the worst headache and threw up 3 times in 2 hours. I was then told by the boss that the state I was in was unacceptable, that I had taken too much time off and was a hindrance to the business, and if I had one more unnecessary day off, that I would be sacked. I explained that I had been dealing with a lot and he knew this. He should have been more understanding, etc. He said that these mental health issues are of no use to me. Luckily for me, I have more pride than that. These were my exact words. I have an idea. You can get out of my face before I knock you out. Freak you and freak your job. I walked out and never went back. Unfortunately, it's 18 months later and I haven't got a stable job. However, I do not regret what I said or did. I will not be shamed for mental health problems and I won't be made the company's